And we're live. You ready, brother?
Let's go.
All right. Welcome back to the Raw and Uncut DC show. This is going to be something a little different. Usually we talk about wrestling, but, we're going to go in a different direction with this video. The purpose of this channel is to discuss everything that we're all interested in. Different interests, TV shows, entertainment, whatever, So in this one, we're going to discuss True Blood. And if some of you fans out there that True Blood know, this past month, the show ended after 7 seasons. And we're both huge fans of the franchise, TV show, should I say. I guess you could say a franchise, too.
Yeah, it is that.
It means the same thing, right? It means the same
I guess so.
But anyway, so, yeah, man. So we're going to do this True Blood discussion, and it's just going to be fun. I love this show, so it's going to be fun to discuss.
All right, why don't you start by sharing with the people how you got into it, what made you get into it, when you picked it up, etc.
All right, let's go back in time, shall we, to like 2008, I believe it was. Now, At this time, this might come as kind of surprise to a lot of people out there, but I was a huge Twilight fan. Okay, the reason for that being was I've always been into the fantasy genre. I love things that help me escape from the world. I've always been drawn to that. Mainly vampires. I've always loved vampire books, movies, TV shows. Even though there's not a lot of good of them out there. There's a lot of crappy vampire movies out there. A lot of them, but I remember we had a conversation back then when we first went to Twilight Forum, and you told me to watch True Blood. I mean, at the time, I heard about it a little bit, but it didn't really seem like my cup of tea. Like, they said it takes place in the Midwest where vampires are out in the open, and they drink this drink, True Blood drink, and it's just, the whole concept didn't really get it to me. I remember you telling me it was more like an adult version of Twilight. Yeah. It was more like, like adult-oriented. And even though that kind of intrigued me, I wasn't willing to take the chance. And that time I was hardcore into like Twilight and other shit, and I wasn't willing to give it a chance. So, and it wasn't just due to time either. I had a lot of friends that I was living with that were actually hardcore True Blood fans. And I remember they had bought the season 1 DVD and tried to get me to watch it, and I was not willing to give it a chance. I was like, nope, this doesn't seem my cup of tea. You flash forward 5 years later, and eventually, I got sick and tired of always the same old teeny bopperish, and a lot of TV shows nowadays, like Vampire Diaries. Besides Twilight, I was heavily into Vampire Diaries. I still am to this day, don't get me wrong, but I was starting to think, you know what? Let me give this show a chance. Because I remember I was getting so sick and tired of all the teeny bopperish elements and all these shows I like, So I was craving something more adult oriented, so I decided, since my library, you can rent, free DVDs. I decided to check out all the first 5 seasons at the time, and all it took was the first 2 episodes, and I was sucked in. Like, man, why did I wait this long? It was great. I couldn't believe it, man. I watched. I would say I watched the first 5 seasons within the first week. I've never done that before. I've never done that before ever, man. I never been watched the show before. What do you think, man?
Yeah, man. Like you pretty much touched on. You did a good job, by the way. I got into it. I really got into it because I read the books. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I won't prepare for it to be just like the books. You're stupid, if you believe that the book is going to be just like the show and vice versa. It's not going to happen. So I was open to how well it would try to portray what I was reading in the books, and I think it did a good job. Yeah, there's different things in it, but oh well. But I started getting into it, when the first season aired, and I just couldn't stop watching it, man, because it amazed me, man. It took you into, honestly, I was a Twilight fan, and to a certain degree I still am, but I feel like that took you away from what vampires really were. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I feel like lately, like the past 5 years, so they made vampires more like romance. Like,
yeah.
All romantic. Like, vampires are supposed to be badass, dead creatures that want to, drink your blood and shit. And even though, they mainly target girls with a franchise like Twilight. Let's be honest here. That's mainly females, but I was hoping, and I was kind of disappointed that there was nothing in that series that was, anything adult-oriented. You know, it was all like watered down teeny bopper stuff. So eventually, I got tired of that. So that's why going into True Blood, I was kind of actually excited because I was hoping that this was going to be a different thing, and I was pleasantly surprised. Now, I didn't find out it was based off a book until afterwards. After watching the fifth season, after doing some research, I found it was actually based off a series of novels. I didn't know that. I had no idea it was based on a book series.
Yeah, man. So let's get like straight into it, man. And instead of going step by step with season 1, season 2, season 3, let's just talk about the characters. Let's just break down the characters here. And obviously, since it is the Sookie Stackhouse series, let's talk about her first. What was your thoughts? Did you like her from the beginning to the end, or how did you feel about her, in general?
Yeah, I really liked her from the first season. There's parts in that season where she kind of annoyed me a little bit. She seemed kind of self-centered. She wasn't a very good friend to Tara, her friend to Tara. And she seemed kind of like self-righteous in a way, her personality. Luckily, as time went on, that changed. But for one, she's very attractive, so she's easily, she's good for the eyes to watch. But she really, she had a really likability factor to her. Like, you could understand what she was going through in some situations. But one thing that always sometimes bugged me about her was she was so self-righteous at times, and I hate that about people sometimes when they're self-righteous. Like I forgot what exactly it was. I think it was one scene where she was in the kitchen, right? And Tara comes to her with a problem, and you can tell Sookie does not care at all. And Tara tells her off, saying like, you only care about things that are going on with your life. That's the only time in the whole series where that kind of bugged me about her. But as time went on, you kind of understood her more. Growing up, she had this thing where she could read people's minds, and even though she hates to do that because it invades people's privacy, what's the word I could say for it? I'm trying to think of a word I could say for it. She was kind of misunderstood, I guess.
Right.
She had a special gift, and she didn't know what to do with it. She could, walk into a bar and read anybody's person's mind in that bar. She could read their minds, and you could tell she knew how to handle that kind of special, unique ability.
All right, my thoughts.
As far as personality goes, it was kind of wishy-washy with me. There's times where I really liked her, and times I really hated her. She was a very compelling character, to say the least.
Yeah. All right, my thoughts on her. I liked her from beginning to end. I liked it. She had that southern charm about her. She would try her best not to cuss, and when she cussed, even as an adult, it was just hilarious to me. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, did I just say that? I like the way she tried to avoid not cussing. You know what I'm saying? She reminded me of sort of like a Southern Belle type of a chick. So, but I mean, as it went on, she just she got hardcore with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but all in all, I mean, I like the way they portrayed her in the books and also on the big screen.
That's probably why I have no books for comparison, because I didn't read the books at all. So I know she's kind of different in the books, her personality compared to the TV show from what I heard. But yeah, I mean, like, it's still kind of funny. She was so innocent in the first season. Remember that one scene in the bar where she's talking to Lafayette and he's talking all this dirty talk, and you could tell that she was so offended by it. She was so innocent. It's kind of funny how that slowly changed over time. But that was kind of the charm to her too. She was the first season especially, she was so innocent. But,
yeah.
I liked her. She wasn't my favorite on the show, but there's times where I was like, ugh, she was getting on my nerves.
I mean, I was all for her character, man, and I mean, the difference, I guess, in her in the book and her on the TV screen, yeah, people that don't like her will call her a slut to begin with, but in the book, she was actually described as what I call a slore, a slut and a whore. She was 10 times more.
I never heard that word before.
Yeah, man.
Corey has invented a new word, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, let's break it down. Since you brought him up, let's go Lafayette, man.
Oh, I love Lafayette. From the first scene in that's actually hooked me, first of all. Well, watching that first episode, when I got to the scene of him in the bar, I was like, I'm going to like this guy. Usually I'm not a big fan of gay characters, but he plays in such a badass way. And I love his personality. Like, I don't give a fuck attitude. I am who I am. What was one of my favorite scenes with him? Oh yeah, that bar when Rennett's going to the bar and they said, I don't want the AIDS burger.
Yeah.
That scene, like, Lafayette is the man. He's just a badass. That's the way I can say it, man. even though he's gay and he's proud of his sexual orientation, that's the kind of guy you wouldn't want to fuck with. You know, he can whoop your ass. He won't take no shit. I love characters like that. You know, and as time went on, I think by season 4, I tried to force him a love story. I wasn't really a big fan of it, but no, I love me some Lafayette though. Easily one of my favorite characters on the show.
Yeah, man. All right, I'm gonna go with my thoughts on Lafayette, man. All right, I'm gonna say with where you said that he's not that one that you sort of start a fight with.
Yeah, he won't take no
I think that's perfectly portrayed because of a person that's gay, especially being young. A lot of people would try to fight him, so you would have to learn to fight, man. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that totally makes sense with me with the way he was, how much of a badass he was. In reality, he was probably more badass than anybody on the show, with really no special powers towards, what was it, the 4th season, I believe?
Yeah.
Not like he had a darkness about him or whatever. But since you said your favorite, story behind him or, quote he made, mine was when he was driving and had Eric in the passenger seat, where Eric rolled the window down, flew out the damn window, and Lafayette said, "How am I supposed to deal with this fucked upness?" That was my favorite fucking part, dude. Like, I was like, he's the type of guy you would actually want to hang out with, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like, when you first told me that there's a gay character on the show, I was like, I'm not going to like that guy.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think I was going to like him, but from the first time I saw him on the screen, I was like, this guy's a badass motherfucker. And he's just, and they've done it right all the way through, I will say. Even though I haven't forced love story, but as far as the whole dark element with the spiritual shit that he was doing in season 4, that was pretty cool. But just his attitude in general is why I liked him. He don't take no shit from nobody. He is who he is, and proud of it. So.
And
I wasn't expecting to like a gay character. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. Oh, what I like about that, the difference in that in the book is he died, if I believe, early in the first book. He died.
He died like in the first book, from what I read. I haven't read.
Yeah. He died in the first book, and he was more of what I would call a sissy gay man, more than the sort of gangster that he was on the show. He was actually he was very sissy in the book. So I like the way they reinvented him, and I mean, let's face it, the people loved him, whether you were homophobic or not. A lot of people love Lafayette, man, and that just shows the power that he played in True Blood, man. That just you had people that completely hated gays. That favorite character was Lafayette, man. So
isn't that crazy? Like I said, I'm not really a big fan of gay characters. I really am not. Nothing against gays or anything like that. But not really a big fan of gay characters. So I wasn't expecting, when he told me they had a gay character on the show, I wasn't expecting to like him at all. But no, I was, on the first time I seen him, I was hooked. Like, this guy, and his genius casting. I forgot his name, who plays Lafayette, but
Nelson something.
Yeah, Nelson Ellis Jr. or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny how the books, he's like a sissy boy. On the show, he's totally opposite. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, he's a bad sucker, man. All right, where do we want to go with this? We want to start with the one and only Jason Stackhouse, man.
Oh, I love Jason Stackhouse, man. A crazy motherfucker, but he means well, though. Let's get it out of the way. Jason's a sex addict, and in a way, I'm not exactly a sex addict, but I'm really into women and I love sex and all that. But Jason, how can I put it, man? He's wild, but he still has that thing that you care for him. Like, what's a good word to describe that, man? You know what I'm getting at?
I know where you're getting at, but I can't think right now.
I can't think of the word, but pretty much, Jason's like one of the most relatable characters on the show to me personally. He kind of has the same personality as me. Very carefree, very laid back, relaxed. And even though he gets himself in a lot of crazy situations, but just he has a certain charm to him, man. You just can't help but like the guy. Once again, the one thing about the show was they cast all the guys perfectly. They fit the role so perfectly. Apparently, the guy that plays Jason is actually really Australian in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, man, I don't know whoever hired the casting for this show was a total genius. I love Jason's character from the first season on. At times, when he became the sheriff with Andy, that shit was hilarious. I wish they went more with that direction with him. Kept him more of like that funny sheriff guy. Andy going around doing shit.
Yeah.
But I love this whole sexcapades and crazy shit he used to do in the first 2 seasons, man. What do you think about Jason, man?
Oh God, man, I think he's him and Lafayette. I think him, Lafayette, and Pam. I think are the funniest on the show. Period.
Oh
Like
yeah, definitely comedy.
they each got their thing that sucks you in, man. And like you just said, you know, Jason had a sex addiction, but when he became that, you know, that Christian, what was it? Was it the second or
Season
third?
2? Yeah, the second season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He became Mr. You know, couldn't have sex. You know what I'm saying? So it
Oh,
was
that
just
shit
like
was
funny.
hilarious.
Yeah, it was funny to see the transformations that he made, and by the third season, you find out he's just dumb as shit, dude. And it's just he was just hilarious, man. You always knew watching it he was going to say something stupid, but some of the things he said, you know, sparked some interest to me. Where he was at that what was it called? The Fellowship of the Light or some shit like the Fellowship of the
Yeah,
Sun.
Fellowship of the Sun, I think it was. Fellowship of the Sun, I think it was.
Yeah, he made a perfect quote when he talked about that he believed what was it that Jesus was a vampire. That he says, you know, drink my blood and eat of my flesh, and he'll give you powers. It makes you really think about that, man. That like that was as dumb as he is. That was by far his smartest comment he made.
Yeah,
You really
see,
think
you
about
see, I was trying to say like he's something like, you know, he's like dumb as shit, but you're always enthralled with everything he does. Like that whole second season when he goes back, that shit was hilarious. When he's with Steve Nolan's daughter, and my all-time
yeah,
favorite scene with him was, remember when Steve Nolan was first became a vampire and he wants to go visit Jason at his home? He's like, I
yeah,
love you, Stackhouse.
yeah, man.
I don't roll this way, but you know, I don't know. He's another badass. I love his
Yeah,
character.
he's a beast, man. I'd like to see. I did see him in a movie. I think it was called Dead Silence. He did a good job in.
Oh, he's in that movie? Is that a movie based on
Yeah,
puppets or something? I didn't check
yeah,
that one out.
yeah, man. He's in that one. All right, here do you want to tackle next, man?
All right, I'll ask you first, man. Let's go ahead and get this one out of the way, man. Bill Compton. What do you think about good old Bill Compton, man?
Bill Compton, I can relate to a lot. He's a little bit more, I would say, edgier, by far edgier than like an Edward, but he's that much of like he's got his emotions. He wears his heart on his sleeve type of deal. He never wanted to become a vampire, and that's where the problem lied with him from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't
Yeah,
proud of anything that he did, and you know, from first season on, the only time I sort of, you know, went astray from him and was like, damn, Bill Compton, what the hell are you doing? Was when he, you know, basically almost drained Sookie of every ounce of blood she had of her.
yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you, when he visited her in that hospital and he started crying, man, it destroyed me, man, because you could just, he's another one, man. I don't think, he's not an American. I don't know what the hell he is, man, but to have the Southern accent as majority of these people had, and to sound like they really were from Louisiana, man, it's very good, man.
That's what I'm saying. He's another, like I said, another British guy playing an American actor, playing it so well, you know. Uh, so whoever cast for True Blood was a total genius. They got all the parts right, whoever they casted. But for me, Bill Compton, the reason why I kind of hated him at first because after watching Twilight and Vampire Diaries for so many years, I kept comparing him to Stefan from Vampire Diaries and Edward from Twilight. He was that goody two shoes character that always tried to do the right thing, and you know, like you said, always wore his emotions on his sleeve. And I'm not really a big fan of those characters. I like more badass characters, so it was kind of working against him. But over time, and he always had that likability factor to him. Anyway, something about him I've always liked deep down besides. And I think when it got to about season 3 is when I really started to like him. You know, not really my favorite character on the show, but you know, you just couldn't help understand it, feel his pain. He never wanted to be a vampire. You know, he was kind of forced into it. Lost his family. You can tell he never got over that, by the way. So I can feel his pain and struggle. I mean, he wore it on his face. You can tell that he hated who he was, but he tried to deal with it the best he could. This one was not perfect. I'm kind of happy how they went to that direction at season 3, where he kind of betrayed Sookie.
Yeah,
It's kind of funny how, like, when you started not liking him, I kind of started liking him. It's kind of
yeah.
funny.
But I
And
will
who's
say when he
Who was his maker
became,
again? Do you
huh?
remember who his maker was? That one
What'd
chick.
you say?
Remember that one part where who's that one chick that turned into a vampire? I forgot her name. Lorena?
Oh God, I hated her, man. I can't
Oh
even
yeah, I
think of
couldn't
her name.
stand her. I forgot her name. I think it was Lorena or something like that.
Yeah, it's something like that.
You could tell why he hated being a vampire was because of her. That's why
And let's face it, dude. I guess to sort of mix this with WWE is did WWE still the authority? Because Bill Compton was the hit of the authority, man.
Yeah, I remember that.
See, I liked him like that. I just thought he was just so badass, man. Especially when that naked chick became a part of him. He portrayed that so well, man. And that's the good thing that you could say about True Blood is when the characters are good, they're good. When they're bad, they all could portray that asshole character, man.
It's like even when you started to not like the character, you always find a way to like him in a way. That's why it's kind of hard for me to kind of say because like even though the first 2 seasons I couldn't stand Bill, I still was actually drawn to his character either way. Even though I wasn't really a fan of his good two shoes character with him and Sookie's relationship, never was a big fan of Bill and Sookie. But there's something about him that I've always was drawn to. And after season 3, when it got to my all-time favorite was season 6, like you said, when he became the what was her name? That god-like vampire inside of him.
Oh crap, dude.
All right, when he killed the governor and took his head off, I love that shit. That was my all-time favorite.
Yeah, that was badass, dude.
I ripped their fucking head off too and fucking took off his head and put it down. I was like, oh, Bill's the thing. He played a good two-shoes character, kind of good, and he also played a badass really well. See, this thing
But
was
see, what you got to give credit on is season 1. It was made out like, oh, it's just love story. But when you really broke it down, I think it was Eric that told Sookie that when she fed on Bill's blood, that's what made her fall in love with him. So it was a trick. So really, he wasn't the goody two shoes that was made out to be either.
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking at first because I remember you told me to keep watching. Remember, I think I called you and you asked like, what do you think of the show so far? I was like, I like it, but I can't stand Bill and Sookie's relationship. You told me just keep watching. Eventually, you'll understand he's not exactly how he appears. And then
Yeah.
he wasn't as goody two shoes as he was made out to be. But either way, I've always liked his character. There's not many characters on this show I actually hate, to be honest.
And I will tell you, I say probably one of my favorite moments with Bill is, I mean, pretty much throughout the 3rd season on, I believe it was, or maybe the 2nd season on, is where Jessica came into play.
Oh, Jessica, or him and Jessica, oh man.
I like the father-daughter relationship because it seemed like a legit father-daughter relationship, man.
It was created so realistically. I think my favorite scene with them was like when she first found out she was a vampire. She wanted to go see her family, and Bill was telling her like all the rules about being a vampire, how she's gonna mainstream like him drink True Blood, and you can tell she wanted to rebel against everything he was doing. And he was kind of forced to go to Eric for help to deal with her. That was some good shit, man.
All right, let's go.
That changed the time I started really to like him a little bit.
All right, let's go ahead and skip to Jessica, and I'll start this one off. Since we were just talking about the whole Bill and Jessica thing, I like when she first turned and she was like cussing, then she'd be like, whoop, or something like that, man, and then it'd be like, oh, I can cuss now. Fuck. Dude, it was hilarious. She played that character too. I don't think you could find somebody else better than her to play Jessica, man. She was just, you felt everything. You felt sorry for her from beginning to the end with her, man. You really, you wanted to see her with Hoyt. You wanted to see her with Jason. It was like a hard choice to pick who you really did want to see her with, man. She was another one that, just had that emotion, man, that you couldn't help but cry for. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like, once again, whoever casted for True Blood deserves a freaking award because they got all the characters right, Jessica, she's like one of the rebellious teenagers, was kind of forced into a situation. She becomes a vampire, so she kind of embraces, I can cuss now. Fuck, like you said, that was one of my favorite scenes with her. And she told Bill, you suck. Oh, apparently you do suck, literally.
Yeah.
He's like, I got my hands full with her. I love that dynamic of Bill and Jessica. It was great, man.
Yeah, man.
And what was that one scene when she went to go visit her family with Sookie, where she told Sookie, don't tell Bill I want to go see my family, and Sookie took her down there?
Yeah.
what was that one scene? I think it was season 2, wasn't it? When that happened.
Yeah, I believe it
Or was
was.
that season 1? But either way, Jessica, yeah, I liked her. And as far as their relationships goes, to be honest, I was hoping that I was pulling for her and Jason to get together in the end. They seem kind of like they had the same personality in a way, but her and Hoyt went good together too. But I was pulling for her and Jason all the way through.
All right, let's skip to the one that probably everybody has that weak spot for. Let's go, Eric.
Eric Nortman, man. Oh man, how do I even start this one off, man? This is gonna be a hard one. Eric Norman describes perfectly the kind of characters I like in a TV show. Badass, I don't give a shit attitude. From the time I saw him in the first season, even though he was barely in there, when I saw him in Fantasia, like, this is going to be my favorite right here, man. Everything about him, man. Just, it's hard for me to describe it because, what's that word, man? When someone just draws you into him, man, from the get-go. You know what I'm saying?
I think you were glamored, man.
I was glamored into him, man. If you guys ever watched Vampire Diaries and you've seen like Damon Salvatore, these kind of characters I like, man. Eric is badass, man.
Yeah, when we first started, when I first got Cindy into it, I told her, I said, this is gonna be the guy you're gonna fall in love with, man. Because I'm telling you, he's just that badass character, man. You cannot deny it. Whether you're, like everybody likes to, say all the time, is team this, team that. Regardless if you were team Bill Compton, dude, you were gonna pull for Eric too, man, because he was just bad. And what surprised me the most about him is how he could play that sensitive character on whatever season it was, 4.
Season 4 when he lost his memory.
Yeah,
well, I love
like
that.
He even portrayed that, man, and I was like, this guy, and at times he was a badass, but at the same time he was just as hilarious as like a Lafayette was.
One thing I love about him was him and Pam's relationship. How they played that, how he was Pam's maker, and they had a special bond. And it's just like their interaction on the show was amazing. Him and Pam, man.
That's who I actually hoped that it would hook up. I know she became lesbian or whatever, but honestly, I just think they made a perfect couple, dude. Like they were just them two together, man. It was just unbelievable, man.
It's like all my time, I always look forward to Eric and Pam scenes together.
Yeah,
like, they just
I always hoped for that.
They have to get together, so, they have to, but it never happened. But Eric from the get-go, man, just drew me in. It's really that simple. He embodies everything I like in a character on a TV show. Badass, but also has a personality and can play, sensitive and, go right back into being a badass again. Just like he did in season 4, he lost his memory, and him and Suki hooked up. That apparently was really popular because a lot of people wanted him with Suki.
Yeah, man.
There's no else to say about it. There's nothing else.
All right, so I'm gonna skip on this one, and I'm gonna start it off with Terry, because I like to talk about this one.
Terry,
being as I know a few military people, man, Terry, he had to have been or know somebody that was in the military to act perfectly to the T of anybody that had to fight the war. You become crazy, you become emotional. He showed you what it was like to come back from the war, man. Like he played that perfectly, man.
Just talk about a person that wears his emotions on his sleeve. You could tell in Terry's face that he was disturbed, all the shit he went through in the war. And you could tell he could never, even though he tried to live with it, he tried to be, like a father for Arlene's kids, but you can tell that he was always disturbed and just a really, character you just couldn't help but fall in love with, man.
And that was one thing you could say about him, man. He stood up for everybody. I remember the time he was like, he paid for the, I guess it was it the ladies' bill, and he was like, get to stepping or some shit like that. Remember, because he stood up for Lafayette and he comforted Lafayette, man. He was like the perfect way that a man should be, man, I think.
And I remember one of my favorite scenes with him was I remember when Sam was wanting to take off and go away for a while, and Terry told him off, like, oh, so you're just going to up and leave us like that?
Yeah.
Him off. I was like, see, this is why I like Terry, man. Like, even though he loved everybody, he also stood his ground too. Like him and Sam's relationship. I wish they kind of explored it more, but this Terry, man, you just couldn't help feel bad for the guy, man. You can tell that
Yeah.
he was meant to go to war, and he could not live with it, you know. And I really hate how he died in season 6, though. How he paid for his assassination. Like, what do you think about that, man?
Dude, I'm gonna tell you, I've cried more than shit. I don't know, dude. I've cried at least probably, out of 10 episodes, I probably cried about 8 or 9 of them, on each season, man. And that totally like destroyed me, man. It was to see the reactions of everybody else. It was to know that this man, I knew he was gonna die, man. When you stripped his memory of forgetting it, I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, man, this is so terrible. And not only did you feel bad for Terry and all his friends, is you feel bad for Arlene, man, because she finally found that one. She had the worst luck in the world with men, dude, and that was the perfect man for her, dude. He
Like,
accepted
he
the
was pulling for
children.
them to work out. And, like, when he finally got his memory erased by that vampire, and he's finally happy again, like, you're like, oh, no. And you knew that was coming, though, because he had told the guy to kill him. So you knew it was coming. So when he walked out of that Fantasia, Merlot's, and he got shot, he was like, even though you knew it was coming, it still hit you right here.
Yeah,
He's a lovable guy, man. He just it hurt.
it killed me, dude. I ain't gonna lie, man.
I cry like a baby, man. I usually don't cry on
And-
TV shows. I cry a lot, but I feel bad, man.
all right, who you want to go to next, man?
All right, let's see. Let's go to Andy. I like Andy, man. Crazy Andy. You like him, man?
Yeah. All right, I'll start this one off. That was the thing, and like I told you, dude. I said, I don't know how many seasons you were behind before you finally watched it or whatever, but I told you, I said the thing about True Blood, each season you may say you got a favorite with this guy, and totally hate this guy, but it's gonna turn the next season, and damn it if it didn't, man. Andy portrayed this total asshole prick cop on the first season, dude. In the second season, you just fully fell in love with him, where he was like, I seen a damn pig. Oh my God, like he was hilarious, dude. And you was just like, man. And you could relate because he was this alcoholic that nobody was never going to believe, dude. Like, he's another one, like, if you listen to the way he talks, he might be American, but he doesn't sound nothing like he talks. He portrayed that character to the T, man.
Once again, man, another example. Like, I sound like a broken record here, but I have to say it. Like, they cast the characters perfectly. I really hated Andy in the first season. How he always was blaming Jason for all the murders that were happening in season 1. He's always picking on Jason. It's like, well, where were you, Stackhouse? Where were you Thursday night? What were you doing? Like, you can tell he wanted to blame Jason for everything. It's a total asshole prick, like you said. But after, I think it was the final of season 1, I really started to like him. When he got drunk in the Merlots. Like, this is what happens when you don't let good cops do their jobs. And he goes to his car, like there's like a dead body in his car.
Yeah.
But I think my favorite was when him and Jason became cops together. Remember that, man, when they finally teamed up together and their chemistry
Yeah,
together?
that was
Jason,
awesome, dude.
oh man.
And I'll tell
And
you another. I'll tell you another one that I absolutely like. It sort of got to me, man. Was when Andy told Terry that not Terry, Tara, that he's the one that killed what was his name, Eggs.
Eggs, yeah. Her boyfriend at the time, Eggs.
That was just and to see his face, dude, like he totally pulled that one off, man. It was like honestly, I believe them doing that show. I believe they felt the character that it almost felt so real to them, dude.
Yeah.
And I mean, like I said, he hit the perfect reaction. Silent at the time that he needed to be silent. Choke up when he needed to be choked up, man. Like I said, I can't talk enough about every single character. Every single character played their role. Whether it was what was her name, Ginger, that screamed all the time. She's the perfect damn scream queen, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it may annoy a lot of people, dude, but I mean, even she played that part, man. There's no getting around. There wasn't one person that you can name was like, oh man, they shouldn't have been on the show.
It's really rare, like all of the characters on the show. Like, to be honest, we haven't really bashed any characters over here. Have you noticed that? Like, we like pretty much all the characters. It's really rare for that to happen. There's usually like a lot of characters I actually hate on the show. But for True Blood, it's like all the characters work together. Like with Andy, I hated him for the first couple episodes, but I still liked him. and eventually he grew on me even more. So you may think you don't like somebody, and in time on the show, you learn to like them. You know.
All right, I'm gonna go with the ones. I'm gonna make this a little different before we skip to some more characters here.
All right, brother.
All right, I'm gonna state the ones that absolutely I could not stand at all, man.
Yeah, let's go in that. Let's go in that
Yeah,
direction.
let's go with the bashing for a while. Not saying that they didn't
Bash
portray the
people,
character because they did.
bash them away, man.
You know, like I said, not saying that they didn't portray their character and they didn't do an amazing job because every single one did. But there was a couple characters that I could not stand. There was nothing they could do in the whole entire season that I liked, and that was the bald sort of butler guy
Yeah. Oh, from
from
Marianne.
Marianne, or I think her
Yeah.
name was. I could not stand him. I don't know why, dude. I mean, I absolutely loved Marianne, dude. She played that. I mean, you almost pulled for her at times. You were like, damn. You know what I'm saying? Like she portrayed that, but that guy I could not stand. And Tara's mom, I just couldn't get past how she ever treated Tara, man.
Oh yeah. See, for
That
me,
that's
I only hate one character in the show, and that's Tara's mom. I've never grown to like her at all. All the way throughout the whole show, I couldn't stand her, especially season one. When I show how much a terrible mom she really was to Tara. I don't know. I've never liked her character. I don't know what it was about her. I tried my hardest to like her character, but I just couldn't do it. Tara's mom was the only one on the whole show. Everyone I eventually liked. I wasn't too sure about them at first, but Tara's mom always stayed at the same level with me. Never got beyond
yeah.
that.
But like I said, I mean, she played her part obviously for us to hate her that much. But
Yeah.
I just didn't like it, man. I mean, honestly, I think she's the worst bad guy of them all.
Oh, I mean, like think about it. What was that one season where Tara was trying to help her up and she like hits her with a bottle in the face? Like now you're ugly. I
Yeah.
was like, oh man, they're trying to get me to hate this character so bad, but it wasn't like after a while, like it was just like I just didn't care anymore. It was like, you know.
All right, who's next, man?
All right, man. Well, here's a. Let's do your favorite, Sam. Little Sam. Talk about him, man.
Take it away, man.
Sam, I wasn't too sure about it at first. I liked him. Don't get me wrong, I liked him, but and I was pulling for him and Sookie in season one, by the way. But when found out that he was actually a shapeshifter, what was it, season two that they showed that, or season one when he oh yeah, because he was in Sookie's bedroom and he was sleeping on
Yeah.
that bed, and he was like he was always playing that doll. He's always run over to Sookie.
It was season one because he was smelling the sheets from the murder crime.
Yeah, and to be honest, I thought he was a murderer in season one. The way he was acting in the season one about being protected over Sookie, how he hated Bill, being with Sookie. You know, that's what first got me to like him. When because I was so anti-Bill season one, so when he was against Bill, I was so for it. And come to find out, you know, he was just the kind of guy that just, even though he's always hurt inside, he always tries to do the right thing for everybody, even though if it hurts him, he's take advantage of a lot. There's a lot of relatable qualities to him, man. That's eventually what got me in there.
That's what drawed me into him, man, because I could totally relate to his character. You know, his homelessness, his problems at home with family. You could just, he was the most relatable character to me, man, that I could see myself as him. And let's face it, one of the most badasses on the damn show, man. From the time he was, what was he, a fly that flew in that person's mouth and exploded? That was badass. Where he put the horns through Marianne was badass, man. It was, it was just all around, man. He's by far, he will forever. That's one guy, dude. When I first seen him, I said, you know what? Something about that guy. He reminded me of Sam Elliott. Used to do Western and other movies, but he just had that sort of Clint Eastwood, Sam Elliott style to me, man. And I was just like, man, this dude's just so bad. And just like you said, he went through hell, man. He was one of those guys that I'm gonna make you happy, even if it destroys me, man.
Especially when you kind of find out he actually had a huge crush on Sookie. It kind of like hurts you to see that he loved her so bad, and you could probably make an argument she was better off with him then with Bill. Like it's something that he still put his pride aside and let her do what she wanted to do. And like you said, he just even if he was not happy, he still did everything to make other people happy. People always calling out of work all the time. Suki coming in, I can't work today. I got something going on. Always took advantage of, man. But yet,
Yeah.
But
I will say who I wanted to see Sam with, honestly, was Tara, man.
Did they
I
kind of
think
like romance at first in season one?
Yeah.
They kind of season one first.
Yeah, it was either season 1 or season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was season 1.
I mean, elaborate on that because I was kind of pulling for him and Suki at first, but go ahead.
Yeah, but all around, man, he was just, I mean, especially the part with his brother, man, that totally, that affected me bad, man. And he was one of those characters, spoiler alarm once again, is honestly, I thought they were going to kill Sam off, and that would have probably destroyed True Blood for me, man. And I was just like, man. And, this last season, I was prepared to see a decent amount of him, and I guess that was one of my disappointments in this season. Was it wasn't enough Sam, man.
Yeah, I was kind of noticing that. He's a very important character in the show, and like he barely got any screen time. I think even in season 6, I've gone back and watched season 6 all over again. He's barely in that one too. Of course, he's in that a lot more than this one. But it's even after season 5, he wasn't really a huge part of the show anymore. So kind of a bummer because, like you said, on a more personal level, I mean, like you can really look at somebody like that. Always took an advantage of it, yet always still carried. Never loses it, never snaps. Well, he does snap sometimes, but always still there for everybody. You'd always call on him to talk to if he was pissed off at you. Like one time, Kara, when she left him hanging in a motel, remember that?
Yeah.
That was messed up.
She said he barks in his sleep.
I feel bad for Sam. He didn't really get I guess he kind of got a happy ending. You think, Sam?
Yeah, but like I said, it just wasn't enough. I guess that's because that's my favorite character. I mean, I guess I understand, but I feel like towards the end there, actually the last 3 seasons, I feel like it wasn't enough of him in it.
Yeah, they should have more in there. But
all right, who else we got that we want to talk about?
Since we touching her a little bit, why don't you talk about Tara, man? What about Tara's character, man?
All right. She's a true black Southern woman, man. It's that attitude. It's that I don't give a fuck attitude. It's her heartbroken, her love, her everything that she's went through, man. You could see that. I mean, that's really how Southern black women are, man.
Yeah.
It was just that rebellion in her, and that like I said, the more harder you are, the more you feel, dude. And she portrayed both amazingly, man.
And you really felt bad for her. Like for me, I wasn't sure what to think about her at first. At first, I kind of hated her attitude, but it's like, you know what? Actually, I kind of agree. Because you can see that she was dealing with a lot of pain inside. That's why she was acting the way she was. She was always bitchy, but you could tell that like you said, people that act the most bitchy are usually the ones that hurt the most. And when she got into a relationship with that guy Eggs, you're kind of pulling for her to get some kind of happiness because you feel so bad for her. She has a drunken mother that was abusive to her. Like her life was total shit, So you can understand like why she was the way she was. But yet you wanted her to have that happy ending, a good relationship. And she never really got that. I mean, Eggs gets killed. Even though I wasn't really a big fan of Eggs though, but
I won't either, man. I won't either.
They kind of worked together, but I wasn't really a big fan of him though. He's another character.
I mean, most of his was fishy, dude. He was made to fall in love with her due to Marianne. So his feelings, I believe, were more fake. You know what I'm saying? And my favorite scene with Eggs is where Lafayette beats the shit out of him, dude.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you're a possessed sort of like demon-y thing, dude, and some gay dude beats the shit out of you, dude. I was just like, man, tear his ass up, Lafayette, man.
It's like
man.
And also, in a way, she's kind of like Sam, where she also gets taken advantage of a lot too. Like she's one of those characters like where she gets betrayed a lot too. So you kind of like I don't want to sound like a broken record here, but like all these characters have played their parts so well, like the emotions and everything. It's like even though you might want to hate her at first for what her attitude was, but you couldn't help but understand her pain. You've seen it with her mom and her relationships with people. And apparently, remember when she had a huge crush on Jason? Remember
Yeah, man.
that? Were you ever pulling for her and Jason or no?
During that time, yeah, but like I said, I always wanted to see Sam with Tara. But I
Yeah.
mean, I was pulling for the Jason thing too. But I mean, once again, that just proved he was so dumb that I forgot who it was that told him. I think it was Lafayette that was like, my cousin's got had a major crush on you and always had a major crush on you.
I
And he
remember
was
that
like,
one
damn,
scene.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
What was that one thing when Jason OD'd? Remember he was hooked on V? And
Yeah,
he got his penis all messed up and she went him to the doctor?
dude, that was funny as hell, man.
Tara's, yeah, an awesome character.
And
You
see,
know
I
what?
also liked what was the name of the dude that was like God, what did he say? It was my favorite line from his thing. He said something motherfucker, and he started texting that shit because he was texting to Lafayette. Remember?
Yeah, I forgot his name though.
Ah, God, I forgot his name, but I was still sort of pulling for them two till he started being a dick to her. But I thought, at first I was like, she needed that kind of loving, dude, because she was always getting, the raw end of the deal. But then he became a total prick, man, and
And you weren't a big fan of eggs, so
no, not really.
that's a character you really didn't care for. And
No,
actually, I kind of felt bad for her because I remember when she first moved in with Marianne, I was like, finally she's getting some happiness. She's a place where she can, get better. But then to find out Marianne was I guess a villain, I was like, damn, it was a bummer for me, man.
yeah, man.
Yeah, man. But
All right, all right,
let me,
let's go. Let's go with old Steve.
Steve Newland. Oh, I was touching that man. I love that guy. I will admit, when he was playing a Christian counselor in season 2, I saw him nothing more than a comedy act. And he played that part well, but my favorite of him was when he became a vampire and he fell in love with Jason. That shit was hilarious, man. I love that shit, man. Him as a vampire was great TV, man.
Yeah, I will agree, man. I mean, like I said, I think all of them, play their part and do it fantastic. He was that guy that you were supposed to hate when he was a Christian. But when you're right, man, when he became, that gay vampire dude, oh my God, man. Like you couldn't help but like him, man. He was just hilarious, man. I love you, Jason Stackhouse. Dude,
What a
he
roll that
kills
way.
it, man. He kills it, and I'm glad, they brought him back for the last season, as a, spirit, whatever you want to call it, dude. I'm glad they brought him back because, dude, he was the man, dude.
I mean, like I said, even in season 2, I'm supposed to hate him, right? He's playing this dick Christian guy that wants to kill all the vampires in the world. But even then, like, just something about him I liked, but like he hit the nail when he became a vampire, man.
Yeah, man.
One of my favorite characters. I wish he actually had more in the last 2 seasons, but as long as they still have him in there, a good part of it. So.
Yeah.
How about his wife though, Sarah Newland? What do you think about her?
I don't have no harsh words for her either, man. I really don't. It was something about her character I actually liked, man. It was, and at the same time, even though you're pulling for Eric and Bill and all those other people, you were also pulling for her too, man.
Yeah.
So, like I said, she played her part, man. It's hard to say, but my favorite part that had to deal with her wasn't even a quote she made. It was what Sookie says. Sookie says is something like, she looks like vanilla pudding or some shit like that, dude. Like, that shit was funny as hell, man.
With her, like, I've always loved her and Jason's relationship in season 2. When she's kind of cheating on Steve Dolan with him.
Yeah.
Jason. And I was like, not only is she like really attractive, but she plays that like God-fearing woman. But yeah, she does all this crazy shit anyway. Trying to kill all the vampires and shit. I was just like, she plays the innocent role, but yeah, she kind of plays the badass too. I don't know, something about her. It's kind of hard to say. Because she wasn't really a main character again until season 6 when she came back to help the governor. But I've always liked the character. Sarah Newland, man.
Brought to you by Pepsi.
How about that New Blood thing? Remember?
That's why I think it's not fully done yet, man.
But she was the one that had the cure for the Hep B virus inside of her in her blood. I thought that was genius, by the way. I love that shit.
Yeah, man.
Well, let me ask you this one, man. Let's kind of break away here. What was one of your top 3 favorite storylines in all the show?
All right, you're putting me on the spot, so if you can name one at least and come back to me.
Okay, I'll put you on the spot here. I kind of like when Eric lost his memory because it was so funny him and his exchanges, him and Sookie, and like you're wondering like, how is he gonna get his memory back, and that show, the way he was acting was hilarious. He was playing an innocent guy. You're so used to Eric being a badass, then he loses his memory. He's an innocent little guy. That shit was funny. So I enjoyed that one. Another one of mine would probably have to be, God, I know this is a hard one. Probably have to be Jason going at Christian camp in season 2. I love that one.
Yeah.
What about you?
I guess I'm going to say, dude, probably one that stands out in my head is, I mean, I will admit it, dude. I do close my eyes through some of it, especially the gay scenes. No offense to the gays, but, you know, I sort of, you know, it's you know, at times it was like watching a gay porn, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I will say one of my favorites, man, was Lafayette and what was his name? Jesus?
Yeah, Jesus, yeah.
I like their whole storyline, dude. And I mean, when Jesus died, or Jesus, whatever you want to call him, died, man, to see the reaction to Lafayette, that tore you up, dude. So I will say one of my favorites was pretty much their whole storyline, dude. Let me think of another one that I liked.
I think my top one of all time is just Bill and Jessica's like first season together. Their whole dynamic of Bill and Jessica trying to teach her how to be a vampire. That shit was I love that whole storyline. Trying to teach Jessica how to become a vampire. I love that shit.
Yeah. I guess the other one that stands out was the redneck that, like I said, you know, another point being is season 1, you hated the rednecks that, you know, the AIDS burger deal. But then when he was chained up, dude, and he was telling you, you know.
Oh, I remember that, yeah.
Dude, that made me, like, Lafayette was like, damn, I'm stuck with this son of a bitch, dude. Like, that was another favorite part of mine. Pretty much, like I said, you know, with me being a Sam fan, anytime Sam was involved, I liked it. Dude, there's so much to name here. I like the flashback that they finally did to give, you know, Ginger the spotlight, where they flash back to it was her idea of Fantasia and stuff like that. I was glad they did that, dude, because it finally, so you could understand her, and she wasn't this annoying person. She was a vampire lover, dude. You know what I'm saying?
That shit was hilarious. How she was the one that came with Fantasia, and Pam stole that from her. I love that stuff. And they're working in the video store. Remember when she first sees Eric? Wasn't she having an orgasm right there when she first sees Eric? She's like, "Oh my god!" Eric's all walking out.
That's another one where he was like, "Ginger, we're gonna fuck," or something like that, dude. And it was like she was on top of him less than a minute, dude. And
she's on the floor, laying down on the floor.
That killed me, dude. And he was like, "Are you all right?" "Oh, I'm fine. Dude, that killed me, dude. That was another one of mine. And I'm gonna tell you, probably my least favorite of all of them is, I guess we didn't touch on, which I really don't have much to say about this guy, is the Wolf guy.
Oh, how can I forget his name? I forgot his name, damn it. It's that bad.
Ah, shit, it starts with an A. It's not Alaric. That's Vampire Diaries. L-Seed.
I forgot his name. So
L-Seed.
I don't really care about his character, huh?
L-Seed.
Al-Seed, yeah, Al-Seed. Damn it.
I did not like him from the beginning, dude. Whatever season that was it 3?
Season 3 is when he first came into the scene, yeah.
It was too much of him, dude. I hated it. It got boring to me. That's by far, any time he was involved, I hated it, dude.
I never really cared for him. I mean, he had that, what was his first storyline? He had that crazy ex that wanted to kill Sookie or something like that.
Yeah, see, I liked her. I didn't like him.
Yeah, I was like, you know, the ex was badass more than him. You know, remember that he had that crazy ex, and like, I don't know, it's just, I never was really cared about any of his storylines. That was the problem. I didn't care about any of his storylines.
No,
And
not at all.
when he became pack leader, I thought he was kind of a dick to his dad. Do you remember, he's always a dick to his dad all the time.
Well, see, that was the thing. In the books, he's a total asshole. So
Oh,
he actually portrayed less of a prick on the TV show than he actually did in the book. He was a
his
total
dad
asshole.
always nice to him. He's always an asshole to his dad. So for me, I didn't hate his character. I just didn't care for anything he did.
Yeah, I didn't like him, dude. I didn't like him.
It's kind of funny how he died, though. You know, like.
Yeah, man, dude. I was excited from hell, dude.
I never bought him and Snooki together. I thought that was like no.
It just wasn't. It just you didn't feel it, dude.
It didn't feel organic or anything like that. Like I would buy her with Steve Newland over her and LC.
Yeah. All right. Do we have any more that we could possibly talk about? I mean, did we talk
One
about?
of you actually forgot. I can't believe I actually forgot about her, but I was kind of waiting for her anyway. Pam. You want to talk about Pam first, man?
Yeah, let's go with that before we end this here.
What do you think about Pam?
You want me to go first?
Go ahead, man.
Dude, another one that's hilarious the whole entire time. Her sarcasm made her actually, man, like it made her attractive, man.
Yeah,
You know
it's like
what I'm saying? Like her being a total asshole made you fall in love with her character, dude. Just like the parts that she was like, my pumps are messed up or something like that. You know, all those comments, every comment that she made, man, it was just hilarious, man. And she was just as badass as everybody else was. Like she was unbelievable, dude.
she could be serious and be bitchy, and yet it's hilarious because she's always serious. I try to remember that one scene where I was hooked from there when she said, "I'm so sick and tired of fucking Sookie. It was always about Sookie this, Sookie that," and she throws a chair at Ginger. Like she plays a total bitch, but you love her being a total bitch.
And I'll say my favorite quote from her that I can remember, dude, besides the pumps that she was wearing, was when she said, when she pulled out the remains of the vampire, and she was like, "You have vampire in your cleavage." Dude, I love that part, dude.
She's always so serious, but it's so funny because she's like, she's still a badass, but she's always serious. It's just hilarious the way she acts.
She's awesome, dude.
How much she hates Sookie, but
awesome,
yeah, I love the backstory of her and Eric. When she became a vampire, she wanted to be a vampire. She like cut her wrist. She's like, either you can turn me now or you can watch me die. Like I loved her and Eric's chemistry.
yeah.
And when they owned that video store, that shit was funny though.
Yeah, she stole the idea, man.
He's like, "You're such a bitch. I know, but you love me." Remember that on the plane?
Yeah.
All right, so I guess pretty much, as you guys can tell by now, we don't have much complaints about the characters or the storylines. That's why it's so hard to really say, because this is really, honestly, one of the very few shows where I love all the characters all the way through. Besides, maybe two characters I didn't really care for. I mean, that's great, So, but now I think we should now that the show's over, let's discuss the finale and the show as a whole. So, man, why don't you go first, man? What do you think about the finale and the show as a whole?
All right, I had concerns because I heard that it was going to be very, a lot of lives lost. Now, give or take, who majority of them were the Orientals that passed. Going into it, I will say this, man, that my wife said, "You better grab a box of tissues," because I was already getting teary-eyed when the music was playing. The "I want to do bad things to you." I was already ready, dude. I was like, but I had it set in my mind that nobody was gonna live, dude. Like it was literally the end of that town, dude. So I was prepared. I was prepared for Jason to die, Sookie to die, you name them. I was prepared for them all to die. Give or take, all we got is Bill. Let me tell you, that just totally destroyed me, dude. I mean, I'm sitting there snotting and like, I mean, I was like a little baby, dude. But I like the way they did it. It got a lot of hate for the finale, saying that it was, terrible. I wouldn't go that far, dude, because in reality, if it would have been Eric that died, if it would have been Sookie that died, it would have been a complaint. Everybody would have said it's a terrible finale.
Yeah.
We got one person dead out of the major characters and that actually wanted to die, so you could feel for him and understand his point of view, regardless if you got choked up, teary-eyed, whatever. He wanted to die, so pretty much all your main characters lived, and it had a happy ending. Yes, it wasn't necessarily a True Blood episode, what I would call a True Blood episode. It pretty much ended, to me, like a Breaking Dawn Part 2, where nothing happened.
Yeah.
It was this happy ending, and honestly, you don't get that a lot from the last show, the last episode of a show. It's always something bad happens. We got something good to happen, so I say, yes, it wasn't a normal True Blood episode. It wasn't, the kinkiness, the violentness, all that stuff. But I say it had a perfect ending, dude. And it hints towards where after, Bill dies and all that stuff, it hints towards where, you had Eric and Pam advertising this commercial with this New Blood, which is that a hint that we could possibly see another show called New Blood? Let's pray for that. But all in all, dude, I say it ended great. It ended the way that I did not expect it to end, which I'm, to a certain degree, more thrilled that a lot of the characters didn't die. Take it away, brother.
All right. For me, it's kind of like, because you've been watching the show since when it started back in 2008. See, I didn't get to the show till last year when I rented all the DVDs and watched them all. I was behind 5 seasons, so it's like, I've only been a fan for a year now, and now the show's over. And I got so hooked into all the characters. Like, it was a hard pill to swallow knowing the show was ending this year. I was like, no, it has to continue because I barely just became a fan of the show. I wanted to keep going and going and going. But in a way, I guess it had to end because sometimes when a show goes on too long, eventually all the writing is really bad and it just becomes too convoluted. So even though I was not happy about the show ending, I guess it made sense in a way. I wish it was more than 10 episodes though, but to go in depth with the finale, the whole Bill thing really tore me up. Even though I was never really a huge fan of Bill, like I said earlier, I kind of hated his character the first 2 seasons, but he always had that likability factor to him. You felt his pain. He never wanted to be a vampire, And he hated the fact that he lost his family. And when he went to go tell Sookie about how he wanted to die, I was like, oh no. I knew it was coming, man. I was like, oh god, this is going to be one of those things that are going to get me to cry. And when she meets him in the graveyard, and when the whole scene happens, just when he dies, when he bursts into blood, man, easily one of the most emotional scenes of the whole show for me. That was very sad, but I guess in a way, like you said, man, it's either this. We could have had all our favorite characters die, like Eric, Sam, Tara. Well, Tara did die, but we could have lost more characters in the finale. But in a way, and they stay true to the character. Bill never wanted to be a vampire. He was forced into it. He tried to live with it, and he had, so it makes sense why he wanted to die. So I wasn't really too upset in a negative way like most fans were. Now, some people are saying that wasn't really a happy ending because, Bill committed suicide for Sookie to be happy to live a normal life. But, I guess in a way, it had to end that way, in a way. It makes sense. To make everybody happy because, like you said, you can either kill all the characters everyone cared about, or you just kill one character that wanted to die and then sort of have a happy ending. Either way, we're not going to be 100% happy. We're not going to be happy either way. What was going to happen? I know I wasn't because I wanted the show to continue. But I will say they stayed true to the characters, and yes, I want a New Blood spinoff with Eric and Pam. I'm pulling for that, man. But other than that, I guess in a way, the finale I had in my head, yes, I think it was better than the one they gave us, but oh well. Like most shows, you're not gonna like the finale. There's a lot of shows that I like that were good, and I hated the finale, but this one, at least they stay true to the characters, which is most important. But as a whole, I love True Blood. I bought all the DVDs, and I plan on reliving them over and over again. Easily one of my favorite shows of all time, and yeah, I'm gonna miss it, man. What do you think, man?
Hashtag true to the end.
True to the end.
Believe in True Blood.
I will say one thing that's always bugged me, though, real quick, though, is that a lot of people were comparing the show to the book. Now, I haven't read the book, so I can't really make a solid opinion about this, but it was kind of wrong to expect the show to be exactly like the book. What do you think, man?
Definitely on that. Like I said at the very beginning of this, I read the books before, the show was ever even, brought out. But, you always got to prepare yourself for that. There ain't really one book out there that goes by. I mean, even you got, the Holy Bible, dude, that when you bring out a movie on it, it's still not the same. Yeah, it might have, parts of it or, some of it's made up. It's never, nothing's never going to be like the book. The closest to that would probably be Harry Potter.
Yeah, Harry Potter, even though I'm not really a huge fan of it, Lord of the Rings, apparently, but other than that, it's really rare. So, I mean, like, I guess, like I said, I haven't read the book, so I can't really say how the books were, but from the looks of it, Lafayette plays a sissy boy in the books, and he's a badass on the show. So, in a way, it's kind of a good thing that they actually went away from the book a little bit. They changed up a lot of things, so. Either way, man, I'm going to miss this show, man. You have any more final words for True Blood?
No. I already did my hashtag.
You don't love Jason Stackhouse?
Yeah, man.
All right, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sorry if it's kind of like a little repetitive for what I was saying, but it's kind of hard for me to describe, in depth about how good this show was. So if you haven't watched it, just if you've been on the fence like I was for so many years, pick up the DVDs. Do yourself a favor. If you like vampires and you like more adult-oriented storylines, you're gonna love this show. Period. Point blank. You're gonna love it. So check it out. Yeah.